Welcome to the seventh episode in Lean Six Sigma series. And in this episode, we are going to talk about scatterplot. As you know, scatterplot is an important tool in graphical data analysis. It helps us identify relationship or correlation between two variables. Hi, I'm Sandeep Batwe, Master Black Belt Lean Six Sigma from Accelerate Management Consulting. And we are going to talk about how to construct scatterplot, when to use scatterplot, and how to interpret scatterplot. For this purpose, I have taken this data of 15 batches, and there are two variables, that is reactor temperature and number of defects. For the purpose of this video, I have taken less number of data points. However, it is recommended that we should have enough data points, more than 30 for any statistical tools. So the question is, can you identify if there is any relationship between the two variables which we have taken here, the reactor temperature and number of defects? Based on this table, it may or may not be possible to identify whether there is any correlation between the two. Since these are just 15 data points, it may be little bit easy, but if you have more than 100 data points, then it would be too difficult to understand if there is any trend. And therefore, scatter plot helps us visually identify and quickly identify if there is any correlation between the two sets. Scatter plot reveals the relationship between two variables instantly. Scatter plots are used to study the relationship between two variables and two continuous variables. Both the variables have to be continuous in order to construct a scatter plot. If you cannot use it for the discrete variable. And in the scatter plot, the process variable has to be on the x-axis and the output variable has to be on the y-axis. And you would get a trend when you plot the scatter plot if there is any correlation. Let's construct the scatter plot. So constructing scatter plot is very easy. Identify which x and y variables you want to study. Correct the paired observations. Draw x and y axis. Plot each observation, observe the pattern and interpret the relation. Let's look at how to construct scatter plot using Excel. So now let's look at how to construct a scatter plot. So I've taken the same data which is of number of batches 1 to 15, reactor temperature and number of defects. So select this reactor temperature and number of defects. Go to insert and click on the charts and scatter. Here you will get the scatter plot. Once you get the scatter plot, click on the plus button over here. Put the axis titles here. You can use this axis title as reactor temperature. Similarly here as number of defects, like this. And also click on right click and add trend line. In the trend line you will have a multiple listing: exponential, linear, logarithmic, polynomial. So depending on the kind of relationship you are getting, you can use this. In this case it's a linear relationship, so I have used a linear one, and ask it to use a display equation and display R square. So this we will also get the equation and R square, and that way you have a scatter plot ready for interpretation. Now that we have constructed a scatter plot, let's get into interpretation. But before going into interpretation, let's understand one thing, that correlation does not imply causation. Now, it may or may not be possible, or the two variables may or may not be related. Okay, and we need to have a investigation before concluding a cause and effect. For example, I've taken this example, ice cream sales and drowning incidences. Now, as the ice cream sale increases, the drowning incidences also increases, and This data, which is taken for 12 months, hypothetical data again, it does not imply that the ICM scale and drowning incidents are correlated. We need to understand or investigate further before concluding what are the cause and effects which are having impact. Now here the real reason is the hot weather. In the hot weather, both ice cream sale increases and both the swimming cases or more and more swimming cases happen, and therefore the drowning incidences also happen. So correlation does not imply causation. We need to understand when we are looking at selecting the x and y, logically there has to be some correspondence between the two variables. Second mistake most of the time which happens is mixing up x and y variable. Now here we have taken the reactor temperature, which is x, and number of defects as y. But if you put it inversely, that is number of defect on x and reactor temperature as y, okay, though the scatter plot would remain same, but this would not give a correct results. We need to ask this question to ourselves when we are selecting x and y variable. Which variable is a possible cause? The possible cause has to be on the x-axis and the output variable has to be on the y-axis. Another common mistake when we are constructing scatter plot is about the x and y axis scale. So if for example here the scale which I have taken for number of defect is from 0 to 50, and therefore you can see that this particular thing is looking more flat. For if I have taken it more from 0 to 100, probably it would have been more flatter, and we may conclude that there is no correlation. However, since the number of defects are less, and if I plot it correctly from 0 to 16 or 0 to 14 in that range, then we will get a clear understanding of whether this data is correlated or not. So always use the fullest possible extent of both x and y axis for the data range. Improper scaling can hide the real problems, and therefore use a proper scale. Similar mistake can happen if we don't have a x-axis which is scaled properly. Generally, a x-axis should be scaled properly with the even intervals between these tick marks. Okay. If, for example, here it is 140, 141 and 142, here probably we may not get the correct equation or correct interpretation of the scatter plot, or it will not reveal the true pattern. It will make data difficult to understand. So use the correct x-axis. X or y-axis both should have equal intervals. Now you have seen that we have used this equation y is equal to mx plus c, and how to derive the equation I have explained to you when we are using Excel in scatter plot and also R square. So this equation predicts the output. It can predict the output. So y is the predicted output, that is number of defect in this case. X is a input variable. Y is equal to mx plus c. Okay. So x is the input variable which we have. M is the slope of this. So slope gives you a change in y for per unit of change in x. So the slope will give you how much y is changing per unit change in the x variable, and c is the intercept. Y is what I am predicting, x is what is influencing y, m is the slope, and c is the intercept. Similarly, R square is a coefficient of determination. We will be talking about R square in detail when we go into regression analysis. But for now, let's look at how R square is predicting whether there is a correlation or not. If R square value is 0, then there is no relationship. If it is 0.25, between 0 to 0.25, then there is a weak relationship. Between 0.25 to 0.5, it's a moderate relationship. 0.5 to 0.75 is a strong relationship, and 0.99 and above, it's a very strong relationship. relationship. Let's look at the importance of R square. R square is the coefficient of determination. We'll be talking about it in regression analysis in our future episodes. But for now, let's look at how R square also explains the correlation between this. So if R square is 0, it does not explain Y. And if R square is close to 1, it perfectly explains Y. So as a thumb rule, when you have a R square value of 0, then there is a no correlation. Between 0.25 to 0.5, then you can say there is a weak relationship. 0.5 to 0.75, it's a moderate relationship. 0.75 to 0.9, it's a strong relationship. And 0.9 and above, it's a very, very strong relationship. In our case, R square is 0.99, and which talks about a very, very strong relationship between these two variables. These are some of the common scatter diagram patterns. This pattern shows a positive correlation. So when one variable increases, at the same time the other variable also increases. Some of the examples like the training hours. If the training hours increases, the productivity would also increase. If operator experience is increasing, then the production output will increase. If machine age has increased, then the defect rate also would increase. So these are some of the examples. Similarly, we can have a negative correlations. So when X increases, Y decreases. This is said as a negatively correlated. Examples of these are waiting time increases, the customer satisfaction decreases. If operator experience is increasing, then the rework quantities would go down. Machine wear rate increases, then the product quality would go down. There is another set of pattern which you can observe. This is like capital J or L, or it can be inverted J or L. In this case, we can say that two variables are definitely correlated, but it will increase after some threshold limit. So once X reaches the threshold limit, then there would be the increase in Y. And this is not a linear relationship. Some of the examples of this are low to moderate stress, the productivity remains high. Excessive stress, then the productivity drops suddenly. Similarly, like machine speed. Machine speed till it reaches the threshold limit, the vibration would be low. But as soon as it reaches the threshold limit, the vibration would increase. Similarly, load on motor. For example, if it is up to 85%, then the power consumption will be low. But as soon as it increases more than 85%, the power consumption goes up. So those kind of relationships are explained by this type of patterns. This pattern talks about there is no relationship between the X and Y. Similarly, this kind of pattern, either this way or this way, would talk about a discrete X or discrete Y. In this case, you can say that the one of the variable X or Y is discrete, and that's why it is showing a straight lines. So both the variables are continuous, but if you are getting similar kind of a plot, then it also means that the measurement of X is not precise. So least count of the gauge for which we are using a measurement of X is not precise. And that's why the data occurs only at limited number of values of X. So you need to go back and improve your gauge. Similarly, this is for discrete Y, as I told you. You can also get sometimes this kind of pattern, curved pattern. In this case also, we can say that the data X and Y are definitely correlated, but they don't have a linear relationship. The relationship may be a different, parabolical, hyperbolical, or logarithmic. So as X increases, Y increases first, and then it decreases, or vice versa in this case. This kind of thing also shows about the outlier. If there is a one or two outliers, you can exclude those and then re-plot the scatter plot to see the. Sometimes it may be also due to error in data collection, or it also may be that that particular point is the spatial cause. So you have to eliminate that in order to identify the true pattern and identify the relationship between the x and y's. Well, lastly, let's come to how two histogram and scatter plots are different. So in histogram, as we saw, it's a one variable. Histogram shows about the distribution of the data. It also talks about the shape of the data and variation in the data. Whereas scatter plot is about two variables and it shows a correlation and relationship between the two variables, and it is a cause and effect investigation, not the variation investigation. So in nutshell, scatter plot answers one important question: are the two variables related? If yes, we need to investigate further. If no, then look for the another root cause. If you find this episode useful and we have added some value to your knowledge, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and like the episodes on our YouTube channel. Thank you very much.